Good morning, people. This is the last Grove, your ragamuffin soldier. And you know what happened today, man? I got up this morning and they telling me, oh, Muhammad Ali is dead. You know what, man? And that's, every time something like that happens, it's like the world is just getting to be a worse place and more messed up because the good people who keeping the consciousness for betterness in this world, all of them they're dying, and it's only the wicked that keep living, you know. So it's really no surprise that every day we wake up, the world is getting to be a worse place because the good people that's trying to do good in the world is wicked. You know what I mean? It's every day the wicked gets stronger. Every day the wicked gets stronger. So, we really can't do nothing about it. We really can't do nothing about it, but at least let us be conscious of it. You know what I mean? So when stuff is happening to you, you know where it's coming from. There ain't nothing, this fear of the unknown is really what it is. The fear of the unknown is a terrible thing. The fear of the unknown is a terrible thing. But when you know what's going on and you know what to expect, when it comes you expect it because this is the world you live in. And so these people trying to make this world, give it an image that it don't have, you know what I mean, to make people comfortable. But this world right here, people been trying to make this world a better world. You know what I'm saying? But as long as the rich folks is going to run it, it's never going to be a better world. You know what I mean? The matter of fact, this new world here started out with people trying to make the world a better place. You know what I mean? They're running away from Europe and the nasty system they had over there, and they try to say that they're going to form a new place where it's going to be freedom and justice and all this lovey-dovey kumbaya shit. But it's the rich folks. You can't do nothing without them. You come over here and you say you're going to have an America and you're going to have freedom and justice and equality and kumbaya and all that stuff. But you can't have that stuff without no money. So the rich folks let you go over to your America and do all your crap that you want to do. But then eventually you're going to come back to them for money. And then when you come back, because when you come back to them for money, they're making the demands for you, especially if you're already in the hole with them. And to me, the impression I get is that the people who came over here to say that they're going to set up America and set up Caribbean and all these islands that they say that Christopher Columbus discovered for them, which was just no real discovery. It was just exploitation of naive people who weren't expecting the worst out of the people that's coming into their territory. So they're not expecting the worst out of these people, and so they're really on off guard and unaware of the terrible situation they were in. So when the country get to when they take over these Americas and they're trying to make the world different, the world could never be different, man, because this human nature is just greedy. That's why when you see good people like Muhammad Ali and stuff come along, you really have to appreciate them because it's not an easy thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Look what they do. Look how they treat that man. He ain't nothing but be a boxer. But you see, when you're gonna fight racism, it's gonna be a problem. You're going to have a problem. I don't matter who and what you are. If you're going to decide you're going to take a stand against racism, you're going to have a problem. And that's the problem Muhammad Ali had. He ain't like racism. You know what I mean? So he keep a lot of you're asking him about boxing and he talking about racism. And that's one of the things I used to like about Muhammad Ali. That even though he came off so egotistic, you know what I mean? I'm the greatest and I'm the greatest and this and that. You know what I mean? He's putting on a show. That was all, and he understood he was doing that. He was putting on a show to promote his fights. But He already knew that racism is the real problem that he was dealing with. So he, you know what I mean, he do that talk show for his boxing career, but racism, you know what I mean, that man never shut up his mouth about racism. So that's the reason I love Muhammad Ali. It ain't no for no damn boxing. It's he the man that was in the spotlight and never shut up his damn mouth about racism. And that's it, and that's the problem, and that's the reason. That's the reason why we are Rastafari today. You know, well, me anyway, because I know most Rasta people want to go to heaven and they want to go to Zion and all that stuff. I'm trying to get my better life right here on earth, and that's why we are Rasta today. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to make a better life right here on earth. You know, that's what the Rasta man is about, making a better life right here on earth for people with melanin. For melanin people, because we done been exploited and taken advantage of, and we just been, you know what I mean, in every way. You know what I mean? If I talk to when I was a kid talking to my grandma, I mean, she couldn't make no sense to me once. You know what I mean? If you start going to school and you start understanding stuff, as far as, because most of the schools anyway is brainwash education, but you still could pick what, you know what I mean? You still can get knowledge out of it, but you're going to have to go out on your own to do it. They're not going to teach you in school. You know what I mean? School is not going to teach you nothing about racism. That's for sure. And I'll tell you what, if you have any kind of melanin in your skin, that's the first topic you're supposed to be learning. I mean, when you go to school, Racism 101 is supposed to be your first lesson in life. Why is Racism 101 your first lesson in life? Because when you leave that damn school with whatever education you think you have, if you don't know how to deal with racism, you might as well ain't never went to no damn school. You hear me? If you don't know how to deal with racism, all your education is null and void. Because you live in a racist system. And nobody is telling you nothing about how to deal with racism. You know what I mean? They're trying to make you feel that everything is kumbaya. But common sense should let you know everything could not be kumbaya, because you came over here in the bottom of a slave ship. You know? And been taken advantage of left and right, Jim Crowed and back of the bus and every negative situation that a human being can go through, you done been through it to help people establish racism over you, on top of your head. So when you talk to your old folks, the old folks never know nothing about racism. When you ask the old folks about your heritage and where you're from, they don't know, they don't have no pictures, and they don't have no concrete stuff to tell you. All they can tell you is what the slave people told them, and run in the Bible and come back with some damn nonsense story. You know what I mean? That's all black people go. You ask a black man who he is, that's the first thing he going to run for that Bible. You know what I mean? And I try to and I don't have many Chinese friends. I got a few white friends, and I got a few, other people, you know what I mean? And when I see they have a different ethnicity from being African and being a highly melanated people, I would check them out. I'm like, you know what I mean? Hey, where you from? I ask, you know what I mean? And the only people who run for Bible to tell people where they're from is African, is melanated people out of the slavery mentality thing. You know what I mean? When I was living up in Massachusetts, ask people where they're from, man. You go to the house, they can show you all the pictures from 17, 18 this, when the people came over here, and 19 this, and you know what I mean? They got a whole history of their family. Where when you ask them where they're from, they can go pull out a photo album and show you where they're from. We got to go run for a Bible to tell people where we're from. You know what I mean? And come back with a damn bunch of confusing nonsense. You know what I mean? And where you're from is you from your ancestors. But they done messed our heads up so much that we're not even any good for ourselves. So You know what I mean? We don't learn anything about racism as melanated African people. And that's the main topic we should be learning. We should be learning racism from the time we come out our mama's room until God ready to take us from here. Because that's the main problem we have as melanated people. The rich folks, I mean, you get sexism, but all I mean, yeah, women, women are taking advantage of all over the world, and it's the same model. You know what I mean? Racism and sexism is the same model. You know what I mean? And even when you ask melanated people what racism is, they don't even know. Majority of black people still know African people, because I hate calling it black people, but I get into that later. But we don't even know where we're from. You know what I mean? And when you ask us where we're from, the only answer we got is Bible. And the only reason we got Bible is because they teach us the Bible. You know what I mean? We don't know anything about our ancestral culture. They never taught us nothing about how we're supposed to carry ourselves as melanated people. So the only how we know how to carry ourselves is as victims of racism. And we don't even know that. Because when you ask a motherfucker what racism is, he don't even know. He tell you, oh, racism is when the dominant class don't like you and all that stuff. And all that stuff got nothing to do with racism. I really don't give a fuck if you like me. As long as I can live my life under God the way God intended me to live, that's what I want out of life. To live a life under God, the life that He gave me to live, that's what I want. I don't want no life under racism. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? So I'm not looking. I'm always happy when I see people talking about racism, because racism is the worst thing to ever happen to melanated people, and it's the worst thing to happen to white people too. You know what I mean? Because racism is what is what all this thing is all about. Racism is why nobody could enjoy their life. Racism is why you would never have an honest relationship in your life. That's why. You will never have an honest relationship with none of your spouses, none of your kids, none of your family members. Because racism is going to put a monkey wrench in between every relationship you ever try to have with anybody. And especially if you're trying to have one with somebody who's not the same ethnicity as you. And I ain't even, because you know what I mean? And I ain't talking about no damn sex neither. I'm talking about any kind of relationship. You know what I mean? I know we could only think about sex. We could only think about sex because these people done took over the world. They done took over every area of activity. And the only two areas of activity for melanated African people is fucking and buying shit. You know what I mean? We got no political power. Black president who can't do shit for black people. No political power. No financial power, except for being consumers. You know what I mean? You mean it's just no educational power. You know what I mean? We got no real education. You got to send your kids to the white school to learn white supremacy. So you got no educational thing. You got nothing, man. What we got? We got nothing but fucking and buying shit. So when you only could operate in two areas, when you only got power in two areas of activity, you know that's all you're gonna see. That's all you can't come up with nothing else, because you don't have you don't have the whatever word I'm looking for. You don't have the power in no area of activity to determine anything about yourself. So the only thing you got is to bring more kids into racism. That's all you got. Bring more kids, have 10 kids, and teach them how to be racist and how to hide when the cops come, and how to drive down the street, and teach them how to live in racism. Because that's all we do. You know what I'm saying? So you bring your kids and you turn them over to the white folks, and the white folks teach them how to be in racism. And sexism Because racism and sexism is on the same principle. And racism is not, oh, white people don't like me. That's not racism. Racism isn't because they, and that's, I used to think that's what racism was. Oh, they lynch a black man, that's racism. Man, that lynch a black man, that ain't no goddamn racism. Yeah, it's because of racism why they lynched the black man, but they didn't, you know, these people that lynched that black man is not the racist, is the point I'm trying to make. The racist is the people that have the power to let them get away with it. You see what I mean? The rich white folks, those are the racists. They didn't do the killing, but they are the racists because they let the poor white people do the killing, and then and then the rich folks who running the thing let the poor let them get away with it. So it's always the rich folks, you know what I mean? And they can the rich folks can shut this racist shit down tomorrow. I'm telling you, they can shut this racist shit down tomorrow. But you know why? Because racism is taking advantage of melanated people for profit. Sexism is taking advantage of women for profit. And so, as long as they got us where they want us, taking advantage of us for their profit and for their easy life, you know, they're going to promote a system of racism. You know what I mean? They're going to promote a system of racism because who don't want an easy life? You know what I mean? We want an easy life too, but we cannot have it because we are victims. You know, and when you are a victim, you get the life that's given to you, and so you got a racist life. But the thing that vexes me about having a racist life is that we act like we don't even know it. You know what I mean? No, you go to school, you go to church, you go to all this crap that we have as melanated people. Nobody says anything about racism. We act like we love this racist crap so much that we're just trying to find a better position in it so that we can show off on the other black man. Hey, look what I got out of racism and you didn't get it. You know what I mean? What's that? You know what I mean? And I have a nerve to have 10 kids. You know, you got a nerve to have 10 kids and doing nothing about racism. Wow. That's a hell of a pill to swallow, man. How much fucking and buying stupid shit could you do without thinking beyond that? You know? That's what I mean. We're not going to think beyond it a lot of the times because we're so busy fighting racism that we don't have time for nothing else. You know what I mean? Being in a racist system is a vampire. It sucks you dry. So you ain't got time. You ain't got time to fight racism, fighting racism. You know what I mean? Just because these people taking advantage of you financially, so you don't never have nothing, and so you're always scrabbling, and you know, and they drop a piece of bread between you all home, between a bunch of hungry motherfuckers, and look at them fight and grab on, and the racist just sit back and laugh because he controlling all the resources. You know what I mean? And he gonna turn you into wherever you're from. He gonna divide your country into two places. North this and south that, north this and south that, north this and south that. And he gonna drop this piece of bread in between both of you and watch you fight and then divide your borders up for you. And so you all hate each other so damn much because of racism, but you don't hate the man that put the racism on you. It's just a strategy that works like, and it's been working like a charm. And so, you know what I mean? When you see people like Muhammad Ali come out and talking about it, these are the people that up in society. And you know, the main person talking about racism is Rastafari. And you know, Rastafari. And I'm gonna come back into it. What the Rastaman says is until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, everywhere gonna be war. You know? And that's just what we're seeing now. War in the East. Bob Marley made a song about it. War in the West. War up north. War down south. Because you can't expect to have a system of mistreating people and not have war. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you're talking about you're going to be mistreating people, you think people don't feel that shit when you're mistreating them? That's why you're going to have war. And then you want to say, oh man, terrorism. Well, there ain't no goddamn terrorism. There's only two people in this world. The racist and the victim, and the rest of us victims of racism. Terrorism, my ass. That's the world we live in. You know what I mean? We got the head terrorist, so everybody is gonna have to be a terrorist too. Because, you know, that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Because when people get sick of being mistreated and they really don't know anything what to do about it. You know what I mean? You know, when you're getting mistreated, you know what I mean? Somebody over in your own country, destroy your own country, destroy your country, and then bring you to their country to live in racism, man, you're done. You know, you're done. And so you can't do nothing. What you going to do? You know what I mean? The best you can do is what you're doing. Go blow up yourself, because you realize you done fucked up and you're going to live in racism for the rest of your generations. And you didn't see that coming. Your ass didn't see that coming. You thought you was coming over. You thought you was going to Europe and America to better your life and kumbaya. And then you ran right into racism. And now you can't deal with that shit. See, we black folks, we ain't blowing up ourselves and shit because we kind of got indoctrinated to racism. Our parents teach us about racism. We go to church to learn to live in racism. We go to school to learn to live in racism. These people from this part of the world, they don't come over here. They don't know how. They ain't been indoctrinated to live in racism. And you put this racist shit on them, boy. You know how that shit feels. Then they know you're calling the terrorists, calling them people terrorists. Yeah, if you leave them motherfuckers alone, they won't be terrorists. As a matter of fact, if you leave black people alone, we'd be better off too. Because the only problem I see with black folks is we just been taken advantage of in every area of activity. Every area of activity. Just been taken advantage of because and we got no choice, you know, even in language, man, you know, that's what I see, man, that's why I see we don't even have a language that we can speak to communicate with each other properly. Where is our African language at? It's gone. You know what I mean? Every time you talk, you can't have a confidential, you cannot have a confidential conversation with your melanin brother. You can't have a confidential conversation with your melanin brother because you're talking some bullshit European language. You know, and you're talking some bullshit European language that you can't even express the things that you want to express, because the only thing this language is good for is to express things in racism. You know what I mean? If you can't express yourself in a racist way, that's what these European languages are good for, is expressing yourself. And they build these languages like that. You know what I mean? These languages didn't have to be racist language, but they built these languages to be racist language because that's the system that they are benefiting from. That's the system they're using to build up Europe. It's taking advantage of people with melanin in their skin to build up Europe. And so when you're doing that, you know, and they want us to continue building them up. That's the fucked up thing. Not start building ourselves up, but keep building up Europe and shit, and keep living in racism generation after generation, making 10 kids and 10 kids and 10 kids generation after generation, not doing nothing about racism. You know what I mean? I don't even understand why you got such a hard time living in racism and you want to bring some kids into racism and not even warn them when they get here. That, man, this is a racist piece of shit world and you better, you know what I mean, start getting some education, man. You better start setting up yourself so when the racist people come at you, they got a solid foundation to stand on. What the fuck, partner? Black folks, what kind of foundation we got to stand on? We ain't got nothing to stand on. When the racists come at us, all we can do is lay down and take it. Because our ancestors never set anything up to deal with racism, and we're not doing it either. So racism is what going to kill us. And when somebody like Muhammad Ali died, it just makes the world a worse place. Because not everybody even got the heart to talk and speak out about racism. Can't do it. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your friends. You're going to lose your wife. You're going to lose because people got to, racism is what they're living by. And you're going against it. So they're going to have to go against you. And even though this racism is such a stink, diseased, bottom of the barrel feeding system, you know what I mean? It's still feeding people and people still love it. You know? Jesus. And so, you know, we just want to, you know, just keep doing things to make the melanin people in this world more aware of what's going on. You know what I mean? Stop being so gullible. You know? Stop being so gullible. You know what I mean? And just believe everything that the racist people tell you. They're not going to tell you nothing for your benefit. Let me tell you nothing. If you want any real knowledge, you got to get away from the racist system to find any real knowledge. Because all the racist system is doing is reinforcing racism. You know what I mean? It's got nothing other than that to do. Reinforce racism, keep women and melanated people down in a subjugated position, take advantage of them financially, and then turn them over to whoever to take advantage of them physically. Because we're living in a system of mistreatment. So there ain't no need for you to try to do anything, you know what I mean? It's just get used to being hostility, because that's what racism is, mistreating people and in hostility. And you know what, man? It's a funny thing when you see the thing, you know, because, you know, it's a funny thing that happened to me. It was sometime last year, something like that, because I'm out there, I was going to find just trying to find this house in this gated community. And I got lost because it's a new house the guy was building. He didn't put the number on the house yet. So I'm in this damn gated community, and I go past the house and I get to the end of the damn gated community, and there's a playground back there. And although the kids back there playing and shit, and I go back there and I turned around and I'm confused. And I was going to ask one of them kids about the shit, but the good thing I ain't even asked them shit, because they were not with some white kids, and sometimes you gotta know how to deal with that shit. And me being so aware, I knew not to talk to them kids. And so I kept going. I gotta find this shit on my own. But before I can get, you know, but anyway, while I was driving around the community, I seen the kids in the back of my mirror running around and acting weird. And I was like they seen something, you know what I mean? And I ain't paying no damn mind, because my mind is on what I'm trying to do. And so, eventually I figured it out, you know? But I know I heard some weird shit, but the kids were getting excited. And I think I heard somebody say, black man. But I wasn't sure because I mean, I'm trying to make a living, man. I ain't got time messing with kids, and you know what I mean? I'm trying to find this house. And so, you know, so eventually I found a house, and you know, me and this man, we get along pretty good, man. You know, he a rich white man and he don't have a stick up his ass, you know, like a lot of white folks do. Cause you know what I mean. He don't need that. Cause you know he don't have to feel better like he's better than anybody to feel good about himself. You know what I mean. Some people are like that. So you know what I mean. He a good white man in my book. You know what I'm saying? Cause I kind of like him. And so I go back there cause he gonna have me work on this boat that he has, and I'm gonna do some stuff to it. And so, you know, back there talking and doom, set the job up. And so now I'm leaving up this gated community now. And I'm heading up the street. But before I can get up the goddamn community, damn police on me like stink on doodle. And I'm explaining to the police, man, because to be honest with you, I expect this type of shit. You know what I mean? You can if you're living in this bullshit society as a so-called black man and you don't expect black things to happen to you, you know, you gotta expect that. That's why they call you a black man, because they already got you set up to go through a bunch of black shit. You know what I mean? So boom, the police come and blah blah blah, and you know they did what they gotta do, run the this and run that and run this, and then, you know, oh, you know, we just had to come check it out because, you know, do what you gotta do, you know what I mean? I've been locked up before, you know, I've been locked up, but I tell you what, they'll never lock me up for nothing. They'll never lock me up for being a thief. They'll never lock me up for being a murderer. Well, they'll never lock me up for being a rapist. They'll never lock me up for being none of that fuckery. All they're gonna lock me up. The only thing they would ever lock me up for because they're some racist ass bastards and they want to come check me out. That's all. You know, they see a black man, a so-called black man, which is what they want to call us anyway. Which we you know what I mean? The only really, you know what I mean? That's what they want to call us because they're the one who set all these colors. You know what I mean? That they can be a white man and treat us like shit. You know what I mean? That's why the Oriental people don't call themselves no damn yellow man, and that's why these Indian people don't call themselves no goddamn red man. It's only us out here with this stupid black man fuckery. But anyway, the police come and they do all that, and I expect all this shit, man. You know what I mean? When you live in a society where it's racism, you got to expect that. And it's racism, and even down in the Caribbean is racism. So, you know, don't think about, oh man, that's just in America, man. When these people was looking for this guy in Jamaica, you know what I mean? People in Jamaica so damn poor and don't have nothing, and this guy right here was doing whatever they say he was doing and bringing money and feeding the people in the village and taking care of them. And so the people, the big racist government decided they don't want that. They want the people in Jamaica starving. They don't want them eating nothing. So they decided that this guy is a drug dealer and they want to put him in jail. They go down to Jamaica, or they get the Jamaican army. You know what I mean? Because they control Jamaica. They control all the islands. You know what I mean? They got the IMF. If you don't do what they say, they cut off your money, just like they do Haiti. So if you any kind of leadership in the island, they got to do what the racist people say. So they can't find homeboy, and so they're gonna go to the village where he's from, and they're gonna start killing people until he show up, because that's how racist motherfuckers operate. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They're going to come to your village and they're looking for this one black man. But they're going to start killing motherfuckers because they can't find him. They feel like you got him and are going to start killing people until you turn him over. And so after they done kill about 70 motherfuckers, he decided to give himself up. You know what I mean? And then ain't nothing happened. You know what I mean? Because ain't nothing going to happen to all the property and the people they destroy, because when racism talks and when racism acts, everything is alright. You know what I mean? Because you live in a racist system. And so, you know what I mean? When stuff happen to you, you can't, you know, if I didn't know about racism and didn't understand racism, I would have been all to pieces just driving around and the police coming, pulling me over and you know what I mean? If I didn't know, I would have been all to pieces worrying about that. And just like when they locked me up for fucking nothing, had me in jail for nothing, I would have been all to pieces behind that. Because Rasta man is the most righteous man on the face of the earth. We don't got no business in nobody fucking jail. And so when they put me in them jail there, it's just a joke to me. People with them jail, it's just a joke to me. And this racist fuckery, you know what I'm saying? You're a bunch of racist fuckery. And so you got, if you're a melanated man, know the life we live in and know how we got to go through it. Because if you don't, pure misery for you. You know what I mean? Your expectations are way too high. That's what that shit is. You know what I mean? It's just like when homeboy, old man, he seen Obama was president. Man, the next day, that's before Obama really did anything. You know, he was because this old man, he was 70 now, and he remember when he was a kid, he was telling me stories about, man, I remember when my mom, the first time my mom chased me out the house to go look a job, and I went down to this place, and I walked into this establishment and went to the front door and was asking the white man for a job, and he tells me, man, you get your black ass out of here. You don't come to the front door in my establishment. Go around the back and come to the back door. And he's like, he can't. He's 70 years old. That shit happened to him when he was 18. He can't forget it. See what I mean? So it's like this racist shit. It's like it scars us for life. You know what I mean? It scars the melanin people for life. And so, especially when you got high expectations and you don't know nothing about it, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When, like these black folks with their high expectations and living in a system of racism, man, good luck with that. Anyway, he see Obama being president, and he think that, oh man, racism this and then the next day when Obama started getting, he got Joe Biden and all these other people. Oh man, I thought Obama was gonna be doing this. I thought Obama was gonna be doing that. Yeah, you done kept your Obama party, and now you're mad as a motherfucker because Obama can't do shit. Obama is a man with melanin in his skin, and he is a poor man. He ain't got the type of money that has no influence. You know what I mean? These people done enslaved our ancestors and stole a bunch of gold and they've been on the thief, taking advantage of people's game for hundreds of years, generation after generation. Obama don't have no money to compete with them people. Obama worked for them. You know what I mean? So Obama can't call no shots. None of these people really calling no shots. You know what I mean? The rich white folks calling the shots because they establish a system of racism so they can keep their money rolling. You know, before the system of racism was established, these people were losing money. They were losing money because they tried to get the Indians to work, they tried to get poor European people to work, and the Pope, but it's only when the Pope gave them the authority to go to Africa and get the African slaves and establish a system of racism, their profit margin really started going. And so racism been good for these people. You know what I mean? The only thing about racism is it keeps you down, it keeps everybody down, so everybody is kept down, wobbling in feces and disease system, you know, because it's a system where you got to keep women down, you got to keep melanin people down, and then you got to stay down with them to keep them down. So it's just a down pressure system, you know what I mean? The down pressure man keeping you down, and he got to stay down with you. So it's just a wobbly, nasty, diseased, corrupt, bottom of the barrel, turn your stomach system. There's no progress to it positively. You know? And if you try to do anything better, they're gonna kill you. So it's I don't know, man. I don't know how this is, man. I don't know how this shit is gonna end up. You know, like Bob Marley said, we don't know how we and them gonna work this out. You know, because someone is gonna have to pay for all the innocent blood. that these people shedding to keep up their racist, sexist disease system, you know, and it's just, you know, I mean, I just wanted to put the video up, man, because I'm heartbroken because of the death of Muhammad Ali, and the world is getting to be a worse place, and nobody ain't doing shit about it, and it's just, you know, who's in charge? You know what I mean? The racists. So, you know, it's not like we're going to see anything better anytime soon. But at least let us be aware of that. Because my grandparents, and even some of my parents, they have no idea that about racism and all this crap, partner. You know, you talk to my people, they're steeped in Bible. And even now, all these island people in the Caribbean, black people all over this slavery thing where all slavery was, we still don't know nothing, you know what I mean? We still giddy from slavery and Bible indoctrinated. So it's a long ways for us before we're gonna make any progress towards equal rights and justice and freedom. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's what people want. People want equal rights and justice and freedom to live their life under God. You know, when these people came over here to America, that's what they came over here for. They wanted equal rights and justice. And they still say it, you know what I mean? When you ask people about America, they still want to tell you, oh, the land of the free, the home of the brave, you know, equality and justice for all, Statue of Liberty and all this stuff. And you know what I mean? Because when the people came over here from Europe, that's what they wanted. They wanted that, but they had the money to have that. They had to go to the rich folks to establish something. And when you borrow money from people, you got to pay them back. And the way you're going to pay them back is the rich folks establish a system of racism for you to make sure you can pay them back their goddamn money. And that's still the system we have right here. System of racism and sexism, so that the rich folks can get their money back when you borrow it. You know what I'm saying? It's a system, and you know they're kind of refining. You know, it's a kind of refinement of that system. You know, it's kind of refinement. You know, you'll see a woman doing something. You'll see a melanated person doing something, but they're not doing nothing really. They're surviving in a racist system. You know, and the only way to really do this thing is to end the system of racism. End the system of racism and free the people so that they can blossom into who God wants them to be, instead of stagnated in a racist, nasty disease system that has no purpose except for making a profit for rich people. You know, that's all racism is good for, making a profit for rich people. But in the meantime, everything else suffer. Everything else suffer. You know, and especially relationships between people, because a relationship in a system of mistreatment can't have no relationship with nobody in a system of mistreatment. Because I don't mean me. The first time I feel you're mistreating me, I'm gonna do something about it. I mean, you know, and that's all that's happening right now. In a system of mistreatment, you're gonna have terrorism. You're gonna have suicide. You're gonna have murder. You're gonna have deceit. Because it's all based on mistreatment. You know what I mean? Mistreating people for profit. You know, mistreating people for fun. You know, what else you gonna have? You can try to do something better, but as long as you have that system over your head, eventually the system is gonna win. Because, you know, the system got guns, the system got money, and the system got the vicious people who are willing to use them. So that's it, man. And you know, I just wanted to get a little something off my chest. Yeah, because I can't take it. You know? My cup runneth over. and with this, with Muhammad Ali gone and the world just being a worse and worse place, I just have to wanted to get something off my chest and put it up on my blog and stuff, and you know, and hope maybe somebody might see it and get an insight into how to make this world a better place, because we ain't doing it, man. We ain't doing it. Every day we wake up worse and worse and worse and worse. And all this is people trying to live according to racism and sexism and take advantage of people for financial gain. You know what I mean? A system of mistreatment, taking advantage of people for financial gain. You know what I mean? It's vicious, man. Vicious. It's slavery. Vicious. Taking advantage of people for material gain. And then treating them like shit it on top of it. It ain't like you're taking advantage of them for material gain, and then you know what I mean? You taking advantage of them as worse as you can, and then turn around and treat them as worse as you can. Wow, our ancestors went through